Hello, my dear friend, and welcome to the Spiritually Engineered Podcast, where we take a deep dive into the human experience from a spiritual perspective. Come on in, and I invite you to stay. So, I recently heard through social media that a friend of mine that I've spoken with, I talked to, hung out, had passed away, and it was one of those things where, well, first let me touch on, I think what was pretty beautiful. You know, I think one of the things I saw when I looked at the comments of the post of this person who shared, because it was my friend's partner who had posted about it on social media, and people within, at least my spiritual friends, were commenting, and these are people that understand that there's a bigger picture of life, and that with this knowing, this understanding that there is, that life goes on, and it's death isn't the end all be all or some kind of scary spooky man. And so people were kind of posting comments about, you know uh, compliment you know complimenting, but really just like giving some praise and some appreciation of the individual, of how he showed up on his daily life, and how much of a positive impact he's had on others. So it's been a lot of beautiful things that just, as far as the discussion conversations goes on there. Bleh, sorry. And I think that's pretty awesome, because it can be tough when it comes to losing loved ones. And maybe you can relate, and you've probably experienced. It's, I mean, I've experienced some form of, like, losing a loved one, but it's not necessarily as like deep. It hasn't really hit really, really close to home. Um, but nevertheless, this kind of, with this passing of this dear friend of mine who who had passed away, it still is nevertheless a little bit more closer to home than it has been before, because but the experiences and the feelings I was having is a mix of things. Going back to when I wanted to just share the positive aspects, like, how much of a positive impact this person has had on other people, and for sure it's had an impact on me, and I appreciate him for all the times we've spent together. And it's interesting because, like, when it comes to death, I'm I'm more in a place now than I was before, of just really coming to peace with that. you know and it's interesting because many of us, we all intellectually know, yes, we're going to die, we have an exit ticket, we're not going to be here the rest of our lives. But many of us, and I will include myself in this as well, don't have that fully embodied, or at least. And and that isn't to say that it's something bad, or like, it's just, it's easy. It's like it's like that saying, it's easier said than done. Like, when experience happens, right? And if I were to lose a loved one, like really, really close to me, I can at least admit that I know it's gonna hit me pretty hard. Like, there's no, as much as I'm someone who always practices about having a bigger picture and understanding, as a soul we move on, which I believe is true through and through. And in fact, it is those beliefs, and just how a perspective of my perspective is what's has helped me and will help me through the difficult times. And as I'm thinking about this, it's like I could try to prepare myself. Let's say, for example, of like a loved one passing on. I could try to mentally prepare myself, but it's like that. But, like, when it happens, right? Because again, it's a reality that we're all going to have to face at some point, something that you'll have to face at some point. Then that's where it's like, that's the kicker point. That's like, for me, okay, oh shoot, this is like, like it's a very important distinction to be made here. Like again, just thinking about theories and all this stuff, but then having the experiences that says everything about how I truly feel, and it's just those moments of trials where nevertheless there's opportunity for growth. Because my big picture and what I believe is that this planet that we're in is a school. We're here to learn and grow and evolve. That's never going to change because this is a school. It's a school. That's how I see it. That's what I know. That's what I believe. And regardless of what happens in life, I think with the nuances and all the intricacies and stuff that can happen in life, to not get caught up in that, really, you know? And that's why I'm grateful that I've come across the Way Shores College, who have helped me connect with the bigger picture, my bigger picture, because like I said, I've gone through some other like life changing stuff that have been pretty big that thankfully because of just the work I've done for myself, I've been able to make it through. But it's always going to be tough, right? Going back to what I was getting to earlier, like you can try to prepare as much as you want, but once you go through that experience, it's like boom, still. I don't know how I guess to articulate it, but it's like it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to play out perfect. It's going to hit. When it hits, it's going to oof. Yeah, the experience, and I guess particularly an example of that. So, and that's, I guess all this is say why I share that because we can have ideas and things, but that's not going to help us grow. Is going through the experiences. So going through the tough experiences specifically, the ones where we're out of our comfort zone, is what we do with those moments is what's going to be very important. It'll make the difference between either life just happens to me or life happens for me. And the vibration of life happens for me is like, okay, I'm having this really intense and really hard experience. But there's like the part of me that with this decision, like I'm going to come out on top. And this experience is going to make me a better person, a stronger person, a more secure person, right? A more evolved soul. So I think with all this I just said so far, whatever challenges, and it's again, it could be many things. I'm sure there's some things perhaps for you that's like maybe you dread, or maybe you find, even, or maybe you're just experiencing something challenging right now. To recognize that there is, or at least let me be the one to tell you that there's a bigger picture, and that whatever your experience, that challenge that you're having right now, is not the end all be all. It is not your fate. It is just a means there to help you. It is not there against you. It is there for you. If you're to think that it's against you, then you are working against your own energy. Then you will box yourself, you will close yourself in, and all that does is what creates separation. In reality, we are one with all things, one with each other, one with the universe, one with God. That connection is power. Not just thinking the connection, again, kind of sharing about the theme of what I've been sharing earlier in this episode, but really feeling it, embodying that truth. And when you can embody that truth within, that right there creates someone who's unshakable in the midst of the craziest storm. Someone that even they can be going through all the crap, all the shit, and yet can still make it through. That's like having working through the dance with like dancing with life, going through the dance and kind of seeing it like that. And working through the currents rather than letting the currents pushing me around and all this and that, because that can happen, especially when I lack awareness, if I'm not directed, if I'm caught up in the emotions, right? There's a difference between getting, caught up, and then there's also like when it comes to emotions, like processing. There's a huge difference. I can get caught up, which is bondage. I'm too focused on something like a small picture, or process the emotions. Okay, I'm feeling this, that, and just being with myself, holding space. And once that storm passes, like, okay, where can I go from here? Kind of a thing. Just to give you a sense there, a little tidbit there. So back to the example of what I shared earlier about my friend passing on. There's a lot of beautiful things that has been shared on there. And for me, rather than just worrying about like, oh no, this death, oh my God, this is scary, oh my God, it's like a monster. Seeing it as an opportunity to evaluate myself, as a way to like, as a moment of checking myself, like check yourself moment. But what's interesting though, and I'm gonna say this and take this with a grain of salt. I remember I was chilling in my room and I was looking at the window and I was having a conversation with my guidance, and we were the topic that came up and where we were talking about death, and my guidance gave me a feeling of what it's like to pass on. And let me tell you, it was it felt very light. It felt like almost to the point where I felt like bubbly, like a child, which is weird because you wouldn't associate that with death. But it's but really, I think what that speaks to, because I got a very clear feeling behind it, which to me is important. Like if I can get that feeling, that reminder, like hey, because that gives that perspective. So if someone passes on, it could be a friend, loved one, whomever. That feeling from me, I can use to help understand. Like, wait, this person's not doomed or anything like that. It's okay. You could say that they're in a much better place now, than in a much lighter place. Because all the heavy, intense crap that we deal with, remember, my friend, this is here in this planet, on planet Earth. This isn't indicative of, this isn't the experience out there in the universe, in the kingdom of heaven. That's not there. The emotions and the intellectual stuff, the concepts, theories, all this stuff, this is all Earth stuff. And you are not of this world. Or sorry, you are, yeah, you are not of this world. So I was just checking myself on that. You are in it, meaning your real home is back in the universe, and Earth is just like I said, it's a school. And why I'm sharing that is because don't identify with this planet as your true home. It's almost like, are you identifying with your physical vehicle like it's the end all be all? Like, oh, I have a soul. No, I am a soul. I don't identify with this vehicle. It's a means. Just as much as just internalize that for yourself. Because you're more than that vehicle. It's just a means for you to navigate on this planet in this school to help you. That's it. Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it a buck, my friend. Let's keep it a buck. Right? We're gonna release the connections to these bodies later on, and in some sense, think of it this way: your body, while you're in it, and it's yours, while you're occupying it, it's rightfully yours, but it's only a rental. The physical body belongs to planet Earth, and it's gonna go back, and your true home, you're gonna go back up there. So remember, it's your rental, right? It's yours, not anybody else's, but it's still a rental. Just to give you that perspective. Again, I think for me, what I'm really want to kind of share with you, and really kind of, you know, as we're stirring and let me cook, really introducing and helping you connect with that bigger picture. And I would want for you to be in a place where it's not just some intellectual idea, but it's something that you embody and you feel and you understand, you see it within yourself. So much that it's just like conviction, you know it. And that right there is what creates that sturdy rock in the midst of the storm. That's a good foundation of your home, your inner home, so that no matter what happens, no matter what life throws at you, you're still going to stay standing. You will still remain stronger, if anything, right? That resilience. So that big picture is all the more vital because reality and what history has shown from a large scale to a small scale. Larger scale meaning the big picture, our society. Smaller scale, you in your life and those close to you in your life. And that life's going to happen. There are things that are going to happen and we have no control over, at least as far as what the future brings. But there is power in setting your own direction and clarifying what it is that you want and need in your life and going after it. So, going back to the example of my friend passing on, again, for me, now I'm at a place where I'm just been thinking about what it is that I truly want and need in my life. You know, just rechecking myself here. And I mean, I feel like I'm at this place now where it's been this slow, gradual of this coming into a better relationship with myself in terms of sincerity, right? Because what I've come to learn is like when I'm sincere with myself, what I do in my free time, and many of my other times for that matter, it's I'm remembering that I'm doing for myself as I'm giving to others. It's like I'm moving and doing with that being of service oriented and really being more intentional about what it is that I'm doing. Just recently I just had like a little online study group, online little class, life class, and the topic of boundaries came up. And I think for me, something I've learned about boundaries is like, if I don't have clear boundaries of where I begin and end, right? Like I know I can get caught up in other stuff. I'll get caught up in FOMO, but I think there's also an importance of like understanding myself when certain habits and tendencies happen or kind of play out, so that when I have more deeper understanding, I can discern, okay, what's my energy and what's energy that I'm actually picking out, I'm picking up from the environment. I'm kind of going a little bit off track here, but I just thought it'd be important to kind of share that because um, the whole like, what is it that I guess the common theme is like, what I want to do with my time, right? It's having those clear boundaries. Like, no, I'm going to be involved in my business with the people that I need to be with and experience and have joy and fulfillment right now, and rather than waiting for it to come about in the future on these unrealistic conditions. Oh, when this happens, oh, when I get more money, oh, when I get a partner, oh, when then I'll be whatever X, Y, and Z. Because frankly, that's whack. Really, I'm gonna allow some external force to give me permission to feel something that I can within myself, that's in my own power and autonomy. Really? Again, this is like for myself. This is my question to myself. Feel free to like internalize for yourself. This is like my process with in my relationship with myself. So it really, I always think about it. When people pass on, it's like, wow, it's like reality is sinking in more and more. Like I remember like in my 20s, and I still, like I said, I'm still dealing with some of this right now. Some of this where it's like, oh, like I have all the time in the world. Like, oh, I'm young and all this, da da da. Which is like, okay, I have a good amount of time. Okay, sure, maybe. We'll see. And I say that on the basis of what you do and what you do now, you take into tomorrow, and not act like, oh, tomorrow I'm entitled to tomorrow, guaranteed, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But knowing that the one constant in life is change, life will start to set in even more. And it's not like life is not doing anything to us. It's more so being attuned and just actually that being um having a sense of grasp on the current reality. Like the reality is what it is, right? All that's out there, there's nothing new under the sun. All that's out there, it's here, right? When talking about when reality sets in, it's like we're really coming to the realization, like, oh crap, I have limited time, right? Usually I hear this when like people are like, as they're getting older, or they're like, oh my god, I can't do stuff like how I used to. Like I know, like I hear some people that I talk to, or people I hear from in their 30s and stuff like that. I'm in my 30s, 33, and this is like this reality. Like it's funny how like people experience, like at this point, at least the people that I know observe, I'm like, oh man, reality, this, that, or I'm like, long how I used to. It's like that realization. Whereas in the 20s, like, oh yeah, whatever, just, no, 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 you know, um, which really, that kind of shift in perspective can lead to like having a poor perspective because regardless of what happens to the changes that the physical body goes through, life is still great. Let me just echo that and give a voice to that. Life is still great. Sorry if this is loud. My apologies. I don't mean to blow up your ears, but no. But seriously, life is still great. It's still great, and it's important not to lose sight of that. And that's for me. Having a bigger picture has helped me. And whether it's death involved or some kind of life change or something happens that's so heavy, not to let all that undermine or, for me, justify a poor perspective of life. It never changes that fact. And it's just amazing just when I can check myself in my perception. And this is something I encourage with you, my friend, to check yourself, check your perception. If if you can put yourself in that place to take a step back. And I think a lot of that requires education, to be honest with you. Education and then, of course, experiences to match what it is that you've learned about, like the growth. And I'll say this, if you desire to have that bigger picture, or maybe you have that sense of a bigger picture, and you just want more out of life like I did when I was in my mid 20s, well, check out my show notes, my friend. I have some resources placed there right for you, right there for you, so that you can take some steps to develop that bigger picture spiritually, so that you can cultivate more of that inner peace wherever you go, no matter what happens in life, no matter up, down, left, right, the chaos and stuff like that. It doesn't matter. As long as you're centered and you work on that steadiness within, where you're in that place where you've practiced a lot and you're really developed. And I also want to slip in, it's not about being perfect and immune, because we're going to feel things. I know I'm going to feel things. I felt things. But it's a matter of just being better at it, at a practice. Much like how I feel like when I'm riding my bike. I'm not perfect riding my bike, but I practice so much that I'm very secure on my bike. So it's that security within yourself. Even though I'll have moments where I feel nervous when I'm riding my bike in certain situations, that's fine. But it's that developed inner security is really what I want to highlight and speak to, and something that I think is important to aspire to work towards as something I would consider a spiritual goal, to develop my inner security. Right? I say I a lot because I'm speaking for myself. I can't speak for you. I can't speak for friends and family. I can't speak for my colleagues. I can't speak for anybody. I can only speak for myself. So let me bring this back again, because sometimes I feel like, okay, I'm going out. All right, I need to come back. I want to make sure I'm on track here, my friends, so I can help you with this, because this is a good episode as I'm just recording this. Like, oh, okay, this is good stuff here. This is a good download. And so the big thing of all this, right? Let's just so what in all this is that through all this, it's important that knowing that I am a soul with a physical body, and that I have been, I am, and I always will be, right? And this is a school, and that there's nothing to lose but everything to gain. Then for me, it's I need to prioritize what I take with me spiritually, the number one priority. And that's something that's a reminder for myself, and something that I need to sit with some more. Because the opposite side of that, right, is being too comfortable, or what I would call being comfy. I would caution against comfiness, because it's the idea that, like I have all this time on this planet. No, you have all the time in the universe as a soul, yes, but in the physical vehicle, you got limited time. You have limited time. And it's important that because we came here this lifetime with this, it's like our lives began with a decision, right? It's like honoring that decision, that soul decision of why kind of going back to your purpose and what it is that you came here to do, connecting with myself and my purpose and what I came here to do. It's important that I don't get caught up in the comfiness, because then I'm just illusioning, like getting into that 20s, that youthful ignorance, like, oh, like there's this, like, or this, or rather, this ignorance related to youth. Rather, I don't want to say youthful ignorance. I want to say just ignorance related to youth. Like, oh, just whatever. Like, just I'm just gonna just settle for this, no change, or try to resist change. Which, if you're gonna resist change, which is that's another component of being comfy. Good luck with that. If you're not open to change, even just a little bit, not even saying a lot, you have to be super open, like something drastic, right? If you're not even just remotely open and you rather just keep things the same, well, good luck, because life's gonna kick you in the ass. And I'm saying this out of love, because what I shared earlier, the one constant in life is change. And if you're being too comfy with where you are, not taking the time to find more growth and fulfillment, then life will set you up to shake you up and down, inside out. And that isn't to say, like, shame on you, this isn't that. For me, I kind of just see it as I'm understanding how the systems of this planet is actually there to help me. Now, I do believe that I don't need to experience, like, when life happens to be able to make those changes. Like, something important, an important theme that I want to share here is, like, when it comes to change, don't wait for tragedy to strike in order to change. Because that's something that happens very often with people. That's something that's so common. It's like people get too comfy and all this, that. And then something either, could be related to death of a loved one or something like that. Or it can be, what often I observe what can happen a lot is health related stuff. Something manifests itself physically. So that comfiness, the resistance to change, comes with a very steep price, my friend. It comes with a very steep price. And I'm just sharing this out of love and concern to be wary of that. Because if you don't, like I said, the systems of this planet, life will teach you, life will remind you. Reality will always set in. It will always set in. Like it's just, yeah, it's like it will always set in. That realization will come. Either, whether whatever stage of life you are, maybe you are at that place where it's already kind of set in. Okay, that reality of, like, limited time in this vehicle, but never to forget the to strive to move towards fun and fulfillment, because we're not just thrown here randomly out of nowhere. Like, no one's I'm a person of purpose in the big picture. You're not going to convince me otherwise. If you believe that, okay, enjoy yourself, whatever works for you. Live your life, whatever helps you to live your life. Damn it, like, honestly, if there's anything to be said, whatever your belief system is, whatever it is that you believe in, how you perceive, how you show up works for you, then you're good, man. I'm not here to just shame or anything like that. I just want to raise awareness to things I feel and know it's important, that I know it needs to be, that I want to give a voice to it, because it's important. This is stuff of life, my friend. Doesn't get any more raw than that, to be honest. This feels kind of peak, but not in a bad way. But it's just like, just keeping in a sense of simplicity, and just like with the, even through all the nuances, it's like elements of what I know I shared in this episode will still, like, getting into, like, the truths and stuff um that I feel I'm sharing with you in this episode. This is a really a really good one. I didn't think I was gonna go this direction, uh, but here I am, and I think that's something that Spirit wants to be shared. And by golly, I'm gonna go ahead and share it, unapologetically. And all the more reasons, like, if you're someone that's, part of your purpose is to share spiritually and help empower people, help them gain a bigger picture, like how I'm doing. If you're that person, to help as a teacher, you keep doing. Don't stop sharing. Please share your light, your love, your warmth. And even if you're not a teacher, share your love, light, and warmth, and how you show up on a day-to-day basis. And really make the most of it, without also getting to this toxic mindset, like, I gotta do the most, or I gotta do all this. it really just boils down to just showing up your best self, you know, and just fulfillment, enjoyment, love, and just having this excitement, this zeal for life being here. Understanding that, yeah, I understand there's so much, I have an awareness of all the crazy things that are happening out there. But my picture's too big to be weighed down by all the nuances of life. Don't get caught up in the little details. There's a bigger picture. And that's something I'm always going to be about. Something that, again, I carry myself, I live my life. And I know I'm going to have experiences that will put me to the test. But I trust and believe in myself to make it through. And although I always have been the type of person to want to prepare for the future and things like that, there's some stuff that's just like I won't ever be prepared for. There's like, and I think that's what I wanted to I wanted to capture in a couple some time ago early in this episode. It's like you can prepare all you want, but it's like you're still not gonna feel prepared, or it's just like it's still gonna you're never gonna be fully prepared for anything, and that's okay. Like it's not some kind of freaking big deal. Let me echo that as well too. This is my mind here. This is like my process here. It's okay, and that's why because of that, I have to go back to just the importance of building that inner security. If you listen to this far of the episode, my friend, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I trust that you're getting a lot of value out of this, and I'll reiterate and emphasize once again. If you want to expand that sense of a bigger picture of life and that understanding from that spiritual perspective, if you want to expand your perspective on spirituality and what it means to live spiritually, please check out my show notes and the materials and resources that I have available there. Please, because I definitely these are the resources and stuff that has helped me tremendously. I wouldn't share it with you if I had felt otherwise. So um so set that time. I think just to kind of close this episode off, as a lot's been shared. Like right now, just I'm looking at the timer here. I'm like recorded for at least 30 minutes, and I feel like I've just been talking for like over an hour or something. I feel like I've just been kind of traveling through time or something. Could be lifetimes of stuff that I'm just pulling through together for myself that I'm channeling into this episode here, sharing with you, my friend. And so when stuff like that, I'm at this place now for myself of just really building more sincerity with myself and prioritizing what I take with me spiritually, because that's the one thing I know that will last after this physical body. I separate from this physical body and it dies and decays and goes back to Mother Earth. And I'm wanting to do a better job because I know it's important. Because when again, if I just to give a perspective, if I don't prioritize that in my life, then I'm going to be caught up at the mercy of the strongest currents, the emotions, and such, and all that will lead to suffering. And what I've come to understand about suffering is that there's a distinction between suffering and growing pains. And I believe that intuitively we know when we're suffering, when we're just going through all this unnecessary, keyword unnecessary, wear and tear in our bodies that we start experiencing. And these ideas that I feel like people have these concepts of glorifying that. Like, I don't want to glorify suffering. Screw that. I'm not here to suffer. That's not a prerequisite or requirement to live my life purpose and to have a fulfilling and abundant life. I don't have to suffer, but there are growing pains. There are growing pains. Those moments when life happens and sure, oh, this is uncomfortable. Oh, this is a challenge. Right? And then insert the variable that's causing that. Right? Like I said, could be health or loss of a loved one. Would you name it? Right? They're growing pains. They're necessary. But doing the inner work that I believe that's taking the time to just set for yourself, to know yourself, journal, utilize, tap into your resources, your spiritual guides. It's particularly like, not just like, on the other side, but like particularly like people in physical bodies. Like consider me a resource as a guide. Like that's something that I strive to be towards. I want to, and I tend to be a guide, not a guru, just simply a guide. And look to them and check with yourself what resonates, and use those opportunities of whatever resonates with you. Even if it could be like a topic that you can journal or talk about with yourself, or even someone close to you, a friend or family member. But it's important to set that time to process so that you start getting more clean and clear inside yourself. That's the overarching goal for that, why I share that. To set that time for yourself so you can get clean and clear inside, so you have more clear boundaries, so that you won't let people impose on you, and you have that discernment. And lo and behold, you're navigating with mastery. And mastery is also, I would say, it's not about perfection. It's just being really well developed, like having a really developed skill sets to be able to navigate and work through stuff. Life skills, you know, life skills. And so this has been a very interesting episode. I feel like I've said so much. Jeez. And yeah, I mean, this really felt really good to share. And I hope you got something out of it. I hope I created opportunities to do that, to look within yourself. Please consider, again, the resources. I can't emphasize enough. Like I said, I use these resources myself. Like I said, I don't share things that I don't use, I don't believe in. It doesn't make sense. Why would I share? Like I said, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So if you made it to this part of the episode, I appreciate your time and attention so much. Thank you so much. I just want to let you know and remind that you're awesome. You're doing great. No need to be hard on yourself. You're doing the best you know how. I'm proud of you. You have support. You have help. You're so strong and powerful. You can do it. You can do it. And no matter what happens in life, I'm going to say this. Take this deeply within. Please internalize it. I was even going to say take it personal. And that is to say, you will make it. You're going to make it. No matter what, you're going to make it. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. Inevitably, you will make it. So, this has been another episode of Spirit Engineered. I'm your host, Alvin Cepeda, signing out. And as always, take care, my dear friend.